Okay, we're on. It's a podcast day, guys. Yep. Oh no. All right, it's official. So, hello. My journal, the cover fell off. It's so janky too. Oh wow, I can't believe it's to that point. Guys, I'm in Christmas pajamas. At least my pants are if you're not watching the video. And Java currently is playing with the cigarette butt on the ground. I think it's adorable, honestly. So today's episode, we're gonna kind of reflect on this year. I don't know, I feel like I want to talk about the main themes that I've noticed this past year. And I love like talking to someone about how their year was because there's so much growth that happens. Well, and it doesn't even have to be like so intense, being like I've grown so much as a person, but it's just so fun looking back at January and then seeing yourself now, and it's like that's crazy. And I feel like this year was a perfect example for me personally where I'm like that's crazy. Like I would have never guessed. And it's more of like a me thing where it's like the things that been I've just like done, you know, and maybe was so scared to do, or I just never had the opportunity. And this year kind of did that for me. Like, I'll definitely look back and be like, 2023 was a year, you know, and I think that's fantastic because also I turned 22, right? So early 20s, you really start from scratch. Like, you're a baby again. It's like that Taylor Swift lyric. I feel like it's Taylor. I should know this, me being a Swiftie. Sorry, I'm sick, by the way. But she's like, you think you know everything at 18, but nothing at 22. That perfectly sums it up. Like, you think you know everything when you're 18, but babe, just wait till it's the early 20s. You start from scratch. And I feel like this year I've been hit with the fact that oh wow, I know shit. Like I don't know a lot. So now it's time to learn. So, do you want to go through the year with me? Like I'm just going to like talk about the year for myself. So if you're interested, I mean, listen, you know what I mean? Cuz I'll give you a good ass time. So, 2023 was honestly, it was a fun year. Like I wouldn't look back on it thinking like, oh, I shouldn't have done this. I do not look back on anything having regrets because also that's just a waste of energy for yourself to think that. But I just think in general, I feel like I really stepped out of my comfort zone this year where I just trusted myself. I think it was a lot of trust within myself and trust within the universe or just whatever force. I just was kind of, I surrendered to it. And also from that was a lot of shadow work that I did as well, where I'm like, this is a behavioral pattern that's hurting me right now. And just being aware, it's just, I guess it's like becoming self aware more. And maybe a lot of people just have felt that too. But let's like go back. Let's start from the beginning, okay? So January, I moved into a new apartment. the one that I'm currently at. And I would say January was a time of settling into a new pace of life because 2022 was it was new and exciting in its own way because it was me moving into the city, first time coming out of like a suburban Christian area, and it was new and exciting to just like that was last year where I had no idea what I was walking into. Like moving into a way too expensive apartment that was so small and I should have never paid that much money, but I didn't know what I was doing. And yeah, like me and my sister, we just kind of said, fuck it, right? So that was last year. It was still new, it was still exciting, but looking back at it, I would have done things differently. But for this year, there was a lot of newness, but it was in a new a new perspective for me. I knew what I was getting myself into, like moving to a new place, a new neighborhood, a new pace. We already had ideas of like what we were looking for in a new apartment. So I just feel like January was just getting settled into a new lifestyle. And oh, that's like one of the things that I fucking love. I just love I love change in a very specific way. I feel like change used to scare the hell out of me, and I think it does in maybe some certain scenarios, but like give me a fucking new apartment with a new lifestyle, with a new routine. I eat that shit up. It's so exciting to me. It's like it's a fresh canvas, you know? And I feel like January was that. I remember because I'm trying to remember like what it was like, but I just know that month was a lot of it was just when you see something for the first time and you're in love with it and you know that there's so much more to discover that it's like so exciting. That's how January was because it was a new place. We're going to be going to new neighborhood restaurants. We're going to be going to a new park, and that's what was super great about January. It was just like that start, and it's a good time to start like a new routine with the new year. Even though technically, I won't get into that, never mind. But yeah, I feel like that's what January was. And our lease ends very soon. So we're also leaving this apartment as well very soon, which is bittersweet because now reflecting back how it was moving in, I'm gonna miss it so much. But it's kind of like what I just said. Moving into a new place soon is such a rush as well. So I'm very excited for that. And it's going to be just me now, which is a whole other thing. But yeah, no, January, I loved the beginning of this year. Because also, like, seeing me now, seeing me in January, still the same core person, right? But I did not have any experience, obviously, for who I was in January to like where I'm at now. And you know, sometimes when life just gets a little shitty because of the things that you've experienced, where it's like you can view it as an amazing thing. Like, I look back on the year with like, oh my God, all the people I met and the new experiences I had, and it feels really good. But sometimes when you're in like that shitty headspace, you're like, why did like why did I have to I don't know, is that why did I have to experience all of that and because it's kind of bringing me some sort of pain. I don't know, is that a very specific feeling? Does that make sense? Henceforth, that's why sometimes I kind of miss that who I was or where I was at in January because I just didn't know what was coming. Again, it's all in how I look at it, but I would like to experience like the January-ness of 2023 again because it was just so exciting and fun. You know what I mean? So, thanks, January. I'll remember you. Is it going to be annoying that I go through each month? I don't think I am, but I might, honestly. And then February. So now we're on to February. I wrote down sparks and newness again. February, I was honestly, like, at this time in life, I was definitely getting into my own personal spiritual journey where I'm kind of removing myself from or healing myself from a lot of Christian religious values that I was raised upon. So in the beginning of the year, it was a lot of aha moments where I'm like, holy shit, like, have I been living my life not how I've been wanting to live it like my entire life? So that was a lot of early in the year. And I can like talk more about that. But February, I was definitely like getting out of my comfort zone a little, where I was starting to, I don't know, like be a little crazy, be a little flirty, or just realize like, all right, Maddie, if you want friends or if you want to meet people, you're gonna have to kind of get out of your shell a little. And this was great because this was also around the time that I was not, again, like I said, I was starting to remove myself from the Christian values that I was raised on. So it wasn't like I felt like, I don't know how to explain it. I guess there's a lot of judgment for years on myself in order, like when it came to, I don't know, like talking to guys or like talking to new people or like my sexuality in general. So I think in February, like not specifically in February, but I just remember moments during that month where I was starting to kind of be a little different, be like, you know what? You do that. It's not sinful, you know? And I just remember moments that month where I'm like, like, ooh, she's getting a little crazy. And also like I was going out more. I I was starting to, it was okay to like go out and drink a little bit more than you expected. You know what I mean? I was starting to kind of let loose maybe. A little newness in that where I'm like, wait, being around people sometimes is really fun. And being a little crazy is really fun. And also that was around like that was the playoffs and the Super Bowl time and it was just really fun. You know, it was fun. Yeah, that's cute. I'm like I love that about myself this year because let's just say like a lot of pivotal things happened throughout the rest of the year because of some things that of just like my decisions in February. So W February, honestly. So yeah, and I think at that time it was just I and this kind of goes through like March and May period, like the springtime. I was becoming a lot more introspective. I think I have to burp, sorry. I was becoming a lot more introspective and I was really tapping into possibly new like career paths or just following like my passions or tapping into my hobbies, like new hobbies. And I know around this time as well, like springtime, I was starting to get really into nutrition and food. And I think I was starting my podcast again, like starting up after I just like didn't I like fell out of touch like late 2022. So I think during springtime I was very like my creative impulses were starting to pop up because I do remember during this time I started to become very interested in like the health and wellness field, nutrition, making food like in the kitchen, and the honestly the spirituality of food and like what it does to the body. Like that's when I was starting to get really really into it. And I think it also came from a place of actual passion instead of insecurity where it's like I have to eat healthy because I want to look good. It actually came from a an interest and a curiosity within me where I'm like, so you can make food that's all natural and it tastes like incredible and it's good for the body and actually helps the body. Like it came from an actual curiosity bubble within me. And I think during that springtime I really tapped into that because I also enrolled in school for holistic nutrition. Whereas now looking back at it, I'm like, I hate school. Like I want to drop out in this current moment, but I'm just trying to remember, Maddie, like you had that passion for a reason. And I think that's what spring gave. Also during that time I was going out more in the way of finding friends, hanging out with friends and not just kind of being scared about it because I've learned a lot about adult friendships in this year and I think that always kind of scared me a little because I was so used to how it was back where I used like in my hometown. So I also think during like the March through, I mean, the rest of the year for sure, but definitely heavy on like the March and May time where I was really spending quality time with friends and developing connections. And it was really, really, really fruitful for me. So that's kind of what I remember in the springtime. And again, like at the same time, it was a lot of newness. So it wasn't easy, but also TBH, like kind of compared to where I'm at now to looking back at the spring, not to say I'm not happy now. I'm not to say I'm not happy now. Around like March and May, like girl was thriving, honestly. Like kind of loved it. And again, I think it was like the warm weather as well. I like the cold, but like I think I romanticize it too much. All right, let's move on. Summer. Let's just say summer is for the books. And I think everyone says that, like everyone has like a summer, but also what is summer? Because it's not like I'm in school and I'm like High School Musical summer, you know what I mean, where it's like no school, we're out because I'm still working. But no, I did have a summer to remember. Let's just say that because also, let's begin. This is when I finally decided to go part-time on my corporate job, which was one of the best decisions I've ever made this year. And I decided to step out of my comfort zone and get a second job where it required, talking to people and, you know, hanging out with people. And I hated that for like, no, I didn't hate it, but like, it scared me because I'm like, ugh, just the comfort of being in my own home was so safe to me. But I hated my corporate job for full time that I needed a change and I needed time for school, but I needed a change and I needed a break and I needed to be around people because yes, I was developing friendships like around this time, but it wasn't like, you have like your work friends, then you have your best friends, then you have some like surface level friends. Those are all needed, right? And I needed that like work friend relationship where it's like I can go do my 8-hour shift, hang out with someone who's dope, and then know that like, oh yeah, we're friends, and then just, go home and be like, I'm glad I got that social interaction today from a cool person. I needed that like lightness, and that's what I did in the summer. And it was great for me because now we don't look back and I don't have regrets. And I'm getting also two forms of income. What else in the summer? Honestly, I was just like really spontaneous. Like I kind of didn't give a fuck. I was definitely going out more, and that was new for me where my sleep schedule got fucked up. Like fucked up. I was just experiencing and I do not regret it because boy, do I have stories. You know what I mean? Like I just have stories now to tell and it's just so fun. But it's not like it was always easy because then the hangover, you then contemplate your whole entire life and you're like, oh, it's just like it's a double-edged sword, you know what I mean? I wrote down for June to August. I was spontaneous, but there was a lot of shadows. There was a lot of like things that my flaws, I guess, were kind of coming out more, where it wasn't necessarily two people. It was like oh, I noticed that I had this toxic pattern. And I think from going out a lot, fucking up your sleep schedule, kind of just having that I don't give a fuck mentality, like let's go get wasted, let's go hook, you know, you know, that it does bring out a lot of I don't know, like kind of a little bit more repressed thoughts that you just like kind of were keeping under the rug. And it's like obviously you don't mean to think about it, it just kind of comes up. And I feel like that happened a lot for me. There was a lot of fun, but there were some times where I was like I see myself getting back into a toxic pattern. I didn't feel as present, I will say, around that time because I was definitely like in my I don't give a fuck era where I'm like, ah, yeah, let's do that, let's do that, let's kiss him, let's, you know what I mean? Um, and then it kind of tumbled some days into I am so sad, or I can't do that again, or did I just fuck this up, or are they mad at me? So again, double-edged sword because I loved it, had the time of my life, but also some moments I was like, I don't want to be here. You know what I mean? So I also did a lot of fun things in the summer. I went on a road trip, which was incredible. And again, I feel like if I could do one thing again, it would be that road trip because I feel like I personally would experience it differently because it was around the time when I was feeling very in my head. I was just like controlled by my mind during this time. Like I was just not present. I felt like I was just not really thinking. No, I was thinking too much basically. And that was during the time of the road trip. And I just feel like I wasn't fully present as much as I wanted to. But again, I think divine timing, that's probably how I was supposed to experience it, you know? So that was really fun though. I mean, obviously it was fun. summer. Honestly, I just went clubbing a lot. Like, I'll say it, like, I've never been clubbing, and I did that a lot this year, and it was fun. And you know what? I'm not ashamed of it because I know every bitch when they were 22 did the same exact thing or wanted to do the same exact thing. So it's like, I love that I had my club era, and honestly, it's not going away. It's just because it's cold that I'm like, no, I gotta stay inside. September. Honestly, September kind of slayed because there was a moment after August where I was like, there's like a full moon in August. I remember it was the Pisces full moon, and I got hit with reality, reality from it. I think it kind of made me like spiral a little, and then I was like, I can't do this in September. Like, I love starting. I think months are a great way to just kind of start fresh. And I remember I was like, I can't do this in September again. Like, I can't be attaching myself to people anymore. And that is hard. That is like, and I'm going to talk about that later, like when I talk about the themes. But damn, that was heavy in the summer. Just like attachment. I get so excited to things and I latch on. Okay. And I do not want to let go because it feels so good, right? And towards the end of August, I was like, this is crippling. This hurts. So September honestly slayed because I remember like writing on my sticky note, like September, I want to be single, right? Because all the time I'm like, I love a relationship, like I want a relationship. But September was like around the first time where I'm like, I want to be single. And it felt really good because I wrote down for September it was independence, like a lot of independence, a lot of me choosing myself, like starting to kind of like heavily listen to my body, my triggers, what's kind of making me tick, and working or at least devoting a lot of my time into my creativity. That this is when I started the Artist's Way book, that like 12-week program where you kind of unleash your inner thanks James Charles but it was like tapping back into your inner child creative self. Honestly, I might have started that in August, but anyways, September did a lot of good work for me because I was just really tired after like August time and I was just heavily anxious a lot. And September I went on a solo trip to Washington DC for a night and I was looking back at that I'm like, "Damn, I can't believe I did that." And I was so swift. Is my sister home, guys? The way that I scream, like when I okay, I think we're okay. No, we're slayed. We're slayed. We're good. We're good. Um, it was so swift of me to just be like, you know what? I'm gonna go see my favorite jazz artist, one of my favorite jazz artists in Washington, and I'm just gonna go there and stay for a night. Like it was so easy for me to buy a ticket, book a hotel, and honestly, me now looking back at it, I'm like, would I even do that right now? Like I felt very brave in September. I was like, I want to be with myself. I want to work on becoming obsessed with myself and loving myself deeply. You know? And also I fell in love with John Corbett. All right. I was also like start watching Sex in the City and Aiden. Who are my Aiden lovers out there? Like I think my type, I think I need to be with someone exactly like Aiden, who is played by John Corbett. So yeah, September, I I loved September because also it I had the mentality of me. Like I was just focused on me. Were there some hard moments? Sure. But I remember it being very easy though. Like I was so set on, you know what? I want to be single this month. So and then I was very set on not trying to like search for romantic endeavors. No, I was just like honestly focused on my romantic endeavor with myself. Oh my god, I can't breathe. Hold on. And my lips are chapped. Okay. Which then brings us into October, which was a little fuzzy. It was a little difficult. We're still in that very introspective, like working within, but there was definitely some heavy shadow period because of the eclipses in October. It really like brought out a dark side where I was like, oh, this hurts, or this is painful, or let's just say like the rejection, the my ego was very heavily tested in October. And just the reality also of that people are stupid. Like we're all so stupid. And there's a lot where again, I just my ego was attached to the I don't know, the potential in people that it really manifested into like getting hurt and my rejection wound like being heavily triggered and just needing the validation and it was that was kind of how October was like heavily and I just felt more sad or just more angry at myself too. I'm like, "Oh, I need to be better. Like I need to do better." I wish I would have given myself grace more during that time because babe, like it was eclipse season. Like and I'm not just saying that. Like no. There were like two eclipses. So like it was heavy on the shadow self. Like lots of things were coming out of the woodwork for people where it was like again, we were all stupid. Some people were stupid. I was stupid. Oh my. Is everyone okay? So yeah, that was October, honestly. Like, was it fun? I mean, I don't really remember specific things I did besides the fact that like I was still going out a lot. And again, I think it was a lot, it came from a place of just trying to force something that just like shouldn't have been forced. Like really trying to control time. And that's one of my biggest things that in 2024 I want to work on or just like be aware of more. I can like the reason why I'm so like I just don't realize how much I love to control things, control the outcome so I don't lead to a conflict. And I try and do that too much and it's like I just want to be in the flow of life. And I feel like I am and in moments when it comes to like love, ugh, fuck that shit. Like I no, with peace and love, fuck it. Because I just really try and control that aspect of life, and I just want to let it go and be like, just get away from me in a beautiful way, though, in the surrendering way. Like, I guess more of romantic love. I'm just like, I wish I just don't want to attach myself to it so much. Anyways, October, yeah. November, hey girl, honestly, November slayed as well. Like, let's just say it. I was in my bed a lot in November. I kind of forgot that November literally was a week ago. It's December 6th. There's still so much of December. Okay, so yeah, last month, not too long ago, very fresh, honestly. I think November was like a prep month. I know the word of November I said in my last episode was peace, and I honestly think it did supply that. It supplied the peace. It gave peace because I chose a lot of like time to just be in my bed. Like I could feel that I wasn't going to go out as much. I could feel that the seasonal depression was really starting to kick in, really starting to kick in. I could write a whole thesis about daylight savings and how much I hate it and how much it shouldn't be a thing. Um, and I feel like that was really prevalent this past month, where I think there was a lot of goodness in November, a lot of progress. I definitely released a lot of control last month, where I'm noticing, and again, like I put so much pressure on myself to like be able to just check mark and be like, okay, I know how to do that now, and I'm gonna be perfect the rest of the time. When it comes to like just letting go, but it's not easy. It comes in waves, right? But I think this past month I was definitely better at it, where I'm like, just let it go. Like the universe spoils me, like it really does. So however it's supposed to unfold, it will. And from tapping into that and from leaning into that and really trusting in that, I think this past month there was a lot of synchronicity, there was a lot of messages, there was a lot of lessons that have been in front of me this entire time, and I'm starting to really recognize them. Because honestly, babe, like the action of just letting it go, of letting it be, and just actually, and this is why, do you hear that? It's my doorbell. Wait, is that my sister? Hold on, pause. All right, we're fine. It's just Amazon. Um, what was I saying? What was I saying? I think that's why I found a lot of comfort when I was in the religious, and I'm sorry, I'm going like back and forth here, but when I did have a healthy relationship in my faith in rare occasions, but when I did, it was very comforting and safe knowing that like I could trust in something, right? And I think that's just like the beauty that comes from being spiritual, being religious. It's like having that faith in something or someone, okay? And I respect. So, feel like this past month, it was a lot of that. Like, I really trusted whatever the flow of life was, where it was going to guide me, I trusted in that. And once you actually truly tap into that, it's wild then what unfolds. Because I think in November, I deepened a lot of friendships. I deepened a lot of things within myself, with confidence within myself, healing a lot from like past hurt and having conversations with people that, I never really thought I would have. And I think it was because I was really just letting go. And what's so interesting is it's like I'm out of breath. When I when I notice I have to burp again. Hold on. Okay. When I notice myself feeling like very controlling on what I do, what I say, or just not taking time to like meditate or be present. I know, like feel the I feel the part of my mind, the ego. I feel the temptation that, or the little devil on my shoulder that's like, this is going to help you. Like, this is good. This is good. Like, this is what you should be doing. And it's very impulsive. It's very like, stay on your phone for a little, like, escape into TikTok, blah, 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 or text them back like this, or don't say that, blah, 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 blah. Or just stay in bed. You don't have to, like, go outside or whatever. It's very forceful. And it's crazy how it really does, like, reel me in. It reels me in sometimes, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm convinced that this is the best way. But then if I go against that, and I do take time to like 5 minutes of like meditation, or just like 5 minutes of breath work, or I do go outside, or I do something that's very creative, or I do just I don't know, you know what I mean? It's it's wild, the difference, the what's the word I'm trying to find? The the end work is is so recognizable on which is which. Does that make sense? Because it's like, I noticed that if I really tap into being present, being very intentional, life just kind of works. It just kind of works out well. I'm not saying every single day I have like a great attitude, but life just kind of works out. You're like in the rhythm of it. And I'm so aware of it. But sometimes I really am just like, it is so much better to just stay in my bed. It's so much better to just like try and seek validation sometimes, and like, I don't even know. And then you're still disappointed each time. It's wild where I can get so sucked into that still. And I know I'm not the only one. I don't feel like isolated in that way, but I really would just love to fully tap into knowing that if I just like constantly connect with my body, choose myself, say things when I actually want to say things and not feel like I have to, or act on my impulses, it's crazy how life works out. And it's like, I don't know, you know? Like, listen to your body. So basically, I feel like I did that a lot in November, and I want to continue that this month as well. And I feel that. And I think the word of the month for December for me, okay, now I'm getting a little restless and I'm like moving my feet a lot. I think the word of the month for me, I know the word of the month for me is love. And you're like, oh my God, that's so cliche. Like, is that cliche? I don't even know. But I just feel like a lot of this month is continual deepening with people, with myself, ending a chapter here. I don't know. I'm kind of going on a tangent, but like, overall, this year has been spectacular. And I think what's so cool about it too is like, I don't feel like I'm starting from scratch in 2024. Like each year you're like, okay, new me, new year, new me, new resolutions. Like, I'm going to be a different person. And that's great. Like, I've been there. But for 2024, just this upcoming year, I don't feel like there's a lot of, I think it's only continual work, continual growth for me. I like viewing things as like starting from scratch, like a new month, new year. I like that, but in a way I kind of I just see, when January rolls around, it's going to be kind of like what I've been working on again. But again, I want to do another podcast of kind of what I feel is coming for me in 2024 and like things I want to accomplish, yada yada yada. I want to do an episode on that. But I just think it'll kind of be the same. I don't want I am moving into like I'm going to be living alone for the second time, but like it's actually living alone now, like no future roommate anytime soon, Like that's going to be new and awesome. And I think insane. I think it's going to be definitely a new era for me. But overall, 2024 what or no, 2023 was honestly great. Like 10 out of 10. Some of the biggest themes though, if I want to shift to themes that like noticed a lot this year was a shift in identity. I wrote down like not attaching myself to material things like that. No material thing like makes me who I am, and just having my identity be kind of my being, my soul, and like I don't necessarily like I love buying things, but I don't it's not who I am. And I think that was a big thing for me this year. Ego attachment, like I've talked about. Hey, I mean, that's all of us, you know? Like, our ego is constantly at work, but it was really spotlight on the rejection wound of like feeling my ego on that, being like, I, how, just being offended, needing validation, specifically from males is crazy. Like, and again, I know I'm not the only one, and I'm not like isolating myself on that, but damn, how we were like just how women are raised to be honestly seeking male validation unconsciously. It's wild and it's hard, and I am in no way uh like, oh yeah, I'm not like that anymore because I've worked through it. Like, nope, still working through it. Why am I out of breath? Love was a big theme. Kind of still the same how I've always been. Just I'm a lover, and I love love. But it's really shown me this year. It's shown me up. It's shown me up that like, what kind of love are you searching for, babe? Because you've been kind of searching through the wrong tunnels. Grief and death is another one I had. I didn't talk about this yet, but in November, I lost my dog. My dog passed from uh, just old age. And I've been with her since as long as I can remember. I don't remember a life without my dog. And she passed like a couple weeks ago, and it's new for me. I think I was mentally, spiritually preparing for it for probably a year now because I mean, she was old, right? So I'm like, it's coming, but you never really think it's actually coming until it's there, right? Till it's happening. That's kind of how it was for Bella. Like, I knew it was coming. So the moment that it was like, oh, it's here, I mean, it was weird. It is still weird. Like, I've always had a weird like fear of death, but this is showing me like this in itself with Bella passing and my first kind of heavy experience with death with like a close one is honestly also a healing experience for me because I'm trusting in the fact that she's just not, she's somewhere, like energy cannot be destroyed. Everyone is energy. She is in a flower, she is in a bee, she is in a hummingbird, and I'm seeing these synchronicities of life, knowing that Bella is still here, that it's also a healing experience for me. And, grief is very interesting because you can use grief as a way to destroy you or a way to like blossom you and like transform you. And I'm not saying that like you can't have bad moments. Like crying and breaking down, like all of that is a beautiful thing. It's just, it is all in how you look at it. And it's just how you handle grief. It is your attachment to a past. And that can be tricky sometimes. Like if you have a tendency to get angry at the past and then you use grief as a way to just still sit in that anger, that's like your journey for that. For me personally, I want to use my grief when it comes to Bella as like a way to know that the sadness is proof that there was love. So that's something that, I mean, it's very new. So, like, a theme that I've learned this past couple weeks about grief and death, it's like, I'm going through it. And some days are hard where I'm like, damn, I lost a form, like a physical form of someone that constantly showed me love. Constantly. And it's weird to lose that, but I know it's also present without the physical form as well. One of the other biggest themes that I'm honestly like learning and working through every single day, this like even this past like couple weeks, is like I've been feeling like everyone is mad at me. And I think that comes from a place where I'm starting to choose myself more, and the ego-based thought that comes that from that is everyone's mad at me now because I'm choosing myself. I don't know where that shit came from and where it's rooted from just quite yet. I'm not sure. I'm not there yet to figure out where it kind of came from, but I'm just like, I am constantly thinking that people are mad at me because I'm noticing that I'm choosing myself and boundaries, or just like I'm not being stupid about certain things, or I'm not like caving in on some temptations with some things. So from that, I'm like, oh my God, they're mad at me. Like, oh, I said no to that. Oh, they're mad at me now. Or it's like, oh, I'm not gonna reach out. Oh, they're probably mad at me. That's just interesting. That's just a big theme that I'm constantly working through. And I think that's something that I want to carry until I know I will carry into next year, where it's like, I just want to constantly be choosing myself and what my boundaries are, so I can also heal the part of me that thinks that everyone is pissed off at me and everyone's mad at me. Like I don't know why. I just think people are mad at me. I'm like, babe, I'm not doing anything. Anyways, that was my year, and I just talked for an hour. And honestly, can I be so honest? If whoever listened till the end, if you have my number, text me and tell me, because I will kiss you. And or if you're watching this on the tube, comment below, you know what I mean? Or if you're listening to this on the Spotify, give it a like. No, but honestly, like if you listen to the whole thing, please text me or do something because I would love to know. Like I'm just curious. And if I don't hear back from anyone, it's like totally fine. Um, but yeah, thank you for listening. I am a big fan of this past year, and I'm so excited to see what this next year is going to bring. And I hope everyone else had a good year. And I hope you guys are reflecting on it and you guys are proud of yourself because you should be. And also, like, if you are not at the place you want to be, that is so okay as well. Like, it is so okay because it's just, you have to just trust in timing. And I know it's like, I know it might be sucky if you're listening to this and it's just like, life is just ass. It's all in perspective. And I'm trying to not sound so like repetitive when I say that, but it is all in perspective. You can either choose to think that life is coming at you on purpose. Someone in some ways, life is just happening to you because I don't know, it's just sucky. Or you can think of it as life is lifing. Just you're in the flow of life that you're in right now is bumpy, but if you choose to look at it as I'm just going to go with it and every single day I'm going to just try and be present on what is and not attach myself to the future or the past, you will find out that like life just kind of works out. It just kind of works. But yeah, okay. Jesus Christ. So, thank you for listening. I honestly love myself and I love you guys. And I hope you're ready for my next episode, which I kind of want to talk about, this upcoming year. All right. Love you. Bye. See you later.